It lives 50 feet beneath the streets. It's 36 feet long. It weighs over 2,000 pounds. And it's about to break out.
You're looking at the one who saw it. And it was big.
You said it was dark. Now, perhaps you were mistaken. An alligator half that size would starve in a week.
He kept coming up with some garbage about alligators in the sewers.
Alligators in the sewers?
Once it escaped, there was no way to stop it.
The safety of the public is my job.
It could be anywhere.
There he is.
Ready to attack at any moment.
You know, I've seen what this animal can do. You'd better take all the help you can get.
Keep coming.
At first, no one believed it. Now, no one will forget it. Alligator.
Oh my God, we are back once again for another episode of Grindhouse Chic. With me, as always, is my main man in Columbus, Ohio, Matt Armstrong, and my main man in Knoxville, who I guess, since you have come back again, you're kind of our regular third seat now, Brian Baldwin, the stalker of Grindhouse Video.
Yeah. I'll give you all the updates of how the shop is coming along.
I've heard rumors from your wife that every day you stand in there just looking in the windows going, please let me in. Please.
I just tape up an application on their window every day. Hire me.
You come and show movies from your collection. I have this too. Let's talk about it.
Something about that image is rather adorable.
Oh, man. That is funny. It's also really cool that you live in the same city as Grindhouse Video, and I think as soon as their store opens, I may make a trek down to Knoxville, Tennessee.
Please do, man. You've got a place to stay. There's a nice hotel right up the road.
Yeah, probably for the best. Probably for the best.
No, seriously, you should. I know it's a little bit of a trek, but God, I'm so excited to give them all of my money.
As we were saying last week, I am jonesing to actually be in a store where I can walk down the aisles and look at movies. Hopefully some that I don't have and some that I want. I miss that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So let's start the show. We're going to talk about the movie Alligator today, but Matt, you said you had something that you wanted to start us off with, so let's start.
Yeah, just kind of something that was in the news this past week. Just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on Amazon acquiring MGM. See if you think it's to me, I feel like it's a big blow to physical media. I don't see them going through the process of, manufacturing, releasing those. I think they're just going to go straight to streaming. What do you guys think?
I didn't know anything about that, actually.
This sale has been in the works for a while. I don't think Amazon wants to do physical media, but I think they are going to license the fuck out of that stuff because that's another revenue stream for them.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to see how much money they're making on Amazon just selling everything.
Well, it's not even the selling everything. It's that these labels are willing to pay them money to release their product. So it's a no-brainer for them. They don't have to put up anything. They'll just make they'll just make however much a label pays them and however much they get for each video for each disc that's sold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had just seen some people were saying like, oh, this means we're never gonna get a definitive 4K Bond set and stuff like that. And I was just worried that was going to be the case.
You never know. Plus, there's already deals in place for physical media they have to honor.
Right, yeah.
So there might not be a traditional 4K Bond set from Amazon MGM, but there could be one from Arrow or Shout Factory.
True. It'd be interesting.
But what's interesting is when you look at the stuff that just came out this month, there's heavy MGM. Well, not heavy. The words MGM are pretty prominent on all the Vinegar Syndrome releases this month.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Schizoid and X-Ray.
Right. Yeah. That could be the possibility there, I guess.
You have to think that at some point, like with Warner Brothers, any company that has a heavy streaming service of their own, physical media suddenly has become less important to them.
Mm-hmm.
But it still makes them money. I mean, think about it. Disney still has their Disney Movie Club, and that I think once we see something like that go away, that's when we should worry about physical media going away.
You got to get in that club.
I mean, where goes Disney goes the rest of the industry.
Yeah.
But
do any of you guys have Arrow Player?
I don't. I've been thinking. I've been thinking about getting it, but if I get it, I have to get rid of Shudder.
See, Arrow is kind of one where I feel like they're concentrating so much on physical media that, I mean, if you open up their Arrow Player, it's like bare bones, hideous to look at. It's just like
it looks like the Criterion Channel. It's the same platform.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
Mm.
The Criterion Channel just seems classier.
It does.
What kind of angered
we put
me?
out Solo.
I don't think that will ever be streaming anywhere.
I found a copy of Solo at a used movie and book place here in town last week, and I was like, man, I really hope someone just picks it up just simply because it's Criterion. They know nothing about the movie, just blind buy. Hey, kids, let's watch a film I found today.
But I think the name gives it away. Solo 120 Days of Sodom. It would be it would be like some. It would have been more weird if someone back at the Barnes and Noble in Madison Heights, Troy, Michigan, that I used to go to, that someone picked up a copy of Mary Mary not knowing it was a porno.
What a great movie.
It is. It is. Speaking, I wanted to talk about this. I kind of brought it up last night when we were in our chat. What is your holy grail disc that you missed out on, and what is a disc that you want to see? What is a film that you desperately want to see released on disc?
Brian, you want to start us?
Sure. So the one that I kicked myself in the butt for, and at this point, I really don't know why. It's not even, we have so many different ways of acquiring these films now, but that Scream Factory Halloween box set, I hate that I did not jump on that. I'm kind of with you, Robert. You've mentioned a few times before that you think that they will eventually release like a boxed version of the 4K, 4K releases of the films. I think that's a possibility. But yeah, it's more about just the fact that I fucking missed out. That's it. I wish I had that. But
now, to be fair, were you a collector at that point?
No, it was like shortly after that I kind of started getting into it. But still, I missed it, you know.
Well, to be fair, I did not order it when it initially came out, and if I didn't see it at Best Buy with a ridiculously mispriced tag on it, I probably wouldn't have bought it. But I guess that's something that with like Best Buy getting rid of physical media, is those mistakes are going to happen less and less.
How much was it there?
I think I got it for the price of the smaller box set that did not include anything past 6.
Nice.
Yeah. But I mean, they had Friday. I remember when Friday the 13th set came out. Best Buy had it on the shelf, and today they probably won't. Or when the Nightmare set comes out, they probably won't. All right. So Brian, what is the one film that you really, really want to see released?
Freddy Got Fingered. Criterion. I'm not even fucking kidding.
I gotta be honest. I have no idea why that movie has not been released on Blu-ray or 4K yet.
It blows my mind. I have no idea. I mean, I own the DVD, but come on, you know, it's a goddamn masterpiece. That movie is just, I don't know. I know how it sounds. But I'm in good company with you guys, right? Like, that's a great fucking movie.
Now, isn't Freddy Got Fingered an MGM film?
I honestly don't know.
Matt's looking it up right now, because if it
I
is,
was about to say, let's do some.
if it is, we are looking stuff up in real time while the show is not live, and I can easily hit pause at any time. But I want the drama. I want us to be like Jack Bauer in 24. That this is the most intense moment ever. That our life hangs in the balance of Matt figuring out if this was an MGM film.
This film is, drum roll, 20th Century Fox.
Oh, it's a Disney film.
My God,
It's lost forever.
it's done.
I'm pretty sure it's one of the Disney films that Disney has no idea that what they own, and that this could be their greatest release ever. So please, Mickey Mouse, please put out Freddy Got Fingered. Give Tom Green a career renaissance. Let us see
Give it a
Rip Torn.
Target 4K exclusive.
Yes. Let's actually, you know what? License it out to Second Sight. Let them put it out.
Ooh, now we're talking.
Because I know
6 lobby cards of sausages dangling from the
and it would have a map of Pakistan.
Yeah. Oh man.
I mean,
that's the one for me.
I would also like to see Vinegar Syndrome release it, because I know there'd be a hilarious interview with Tom Green. Actually, I would like to see anyone release it. So please release it. My DVD copy sucks. It's over 20 years old now.
That's crazy.
All right, Matt, what is your holy grail of Blu-ray DVD collectible that you are looking for?
So my holy grail it's a movie that I actually stumbled upon in a Best Buy on DVD. And a company finally released it on Blu-ray, and it sold out instantly, and I believe they repressed it and it sold out again. I thought that I had missed my chance, and I was actually going through all my movies that I hadn't organized yet the other day and realized that I had got it. So this is my holy grail for a long time, is you can't see it.
It's totally blurry.
What about now?
Oh, is that Riccio?
It's Riccio, yes.
Yes.
So yeah, 88 Films put out a Blu-ray of it, and I really thought that I'd missed out on it, and then I saw it in there, and I was like, whoa.
All right, there's a more disturbing pattern to your collecting habits that if you don't know you have something,
Yes.
especially something that's recent.
Yeah, I had to start making a list on Letterboxd and start logging all of them, because I'll get them and then I'll just leave them in the box because I don't have my shelves set up, and That's where they stay till I walk.
All right. All right. So that's really not a holy grail since you have it. So
No.
you're totally dissing the
No,
rules of this.
Until I realized I had it.
All right. So what was
Dude.
number 2 on your holy grail list?
Oh, I think just probably some of the. I think I've brought this up before, but if a label has spy numbers, I have to get them all. Even if I have no plans to watch them, I have to have the numbers. So getting so much into Vinegar Syndrome, I feel like some of those earlier rare ones that I missed out on that are crazy expensive now. Like I just recently got Jack Frost, so I could cross that one off. But like the Tammy and the T-Rex 4K, the Ice Cream Man are like real high on my list. Robert's pieces, I can tell he's starting to despise me.
No, I'm not. So what would you do about Corruption, which in its 2 pressings had different spine numbers?
Did it?
Yep. The original pressing was Exploitation TV, either 001 or 002, and then it became whatever it is.
Well, I guess I'll have to get that. Well, I do have I did go back and get both Fade to Black slipcovers, so I guess I'll just go back and get that earlier pressing, I guess, now that you brought it up.
Well, it's something that people did. I think there were a few of them that had that Exploitation TV, like every release right around that time period, which was stupid sub-branding that made no sense. All right. So what is now your one film that you really want to see released? And he froze. So while he's sitting there either looking contemplative, so my holy grail is, I'm sorry, Matt, you're back. So what is the one film you want to see released?
I've brought this one up a couple times, but I'm still holding out hope for Soul Man.
Come on, man. That is never going to be released. That movie is canceled on so many different levels. Canceled because of the plot. Canceled because of C. Thomas Howell's subpar performance. That movie deserves never to be seen again. Yeah. All right. We won't hold that against you. All right. My holy grail is the Italian From Dusk Till Dawn that came with a replica of the Titty Twister. No idea how I would even store that one, but I would love to walk into my movie room just looking at that. That is my. I don't want to pay for it. I just want someone to give it to me.
How big was the replica?
You know what? I don't remember. I've only seen it in pictures, but it was it would have. I think it would have taken up a good portion of a top shelf, and I don't know if it would have been too high for my for where I store my discs. So like right now, I have the original Seinfeld complete series that was done in a refrigerator. No idea how to even store that one. It's just too big. And the Godzilla one. And the one film I think has never been released in high def in America is Larry Clark's Kids.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude. Yeah, there's a German Blu-ray release of that. I didn't pick. I don't know. I was kind of afraid it might be like edited and weird because they kind of have a tendency to do that sometimes. But yeah, to my knowledge, that's the only Blu-ray release of any of those Larry Clark, Harmony Korine. But well, I'm sorry, the Beach Bum obviously had the Blu-ray release.
I thought so. And didn't Gummo get a Blu-ray?
Not that I know of, man. I mean, if it did, let me know. Those are some of my favorite movies, but
they are really good films.
Just to let you know, the Titty Twister edition is sizable.
God, it just looks so fucking cool. Well, we'll put a picture of it in the link below so all of you can look at it in amazement. All right, so before we get to our movie that we talked about we're gonna talk about this week. I happened to receive my Vinegar Syndrome order in, and I've watched a couple of movies from there. I've watched Hard Rock Zombies, which I can't wait for us to talk about it because I'm now totally, utterly obsessed with this film. It is the most fun I've had with a movie than I had in a long time. It's just so fucking good. Then I also watched Scream Queen, the documentary about the Nightmare on Elm Street 2 actor. I thought it was a good film. Then I watched Slaughterhouse Rock, which sucked. But was it better than Alligator? Oh, Alligator.
Segue.
Yeah, it was a piss poor segue now that I said it out loud. I just want to say I saw all these good movies over the weekend, and then Alligator. I really wanted to like Alligator because I've seen it before, and it's a really good premise of this young girl who gets a tiny alligator at an alligator wrestling event in Florida, brings it back to Chicago. For some reason, her asshole dad flushes it down the toilet where it gets mutated by a major conglomerate doing some shady testing with animals, and then it just runs rampant in the city with some very brutal deaths and one death that I consider so unnecessary to do. And Robert Forster's, well, you know what? What did you guys think of Alligator? Let's talk about that.
So yeah, I had mentioned that it was definitely slow moving to start with. It did leave me with a lot of questions as to why it went in the direction it did. Like you said, the dad throwing the alligator down the toilet for some unknown reason, and I think in that same scene we hear that he like flushed her gerbil or something. He just doesn't like animals apparently, but yeah, we've watched some slow movies on here, but I feel like this one was the slowest moving, just like the animatronic alligator they had. But at the same time, it felt different from a Vinegar Syndrome movie, and it just felt like there was a bigger budget attached to it. It had more of like I don't want to say Hollywood feel, but maybe just it had more of a feel of someone who knew how to make movies more, I guess, is what I want to say.
Well, it definitely had a studio behind it. Robert Forster is a really good actor, was a really good actor. Robin Riker, who is at this time several years off the end of Fridays and either just beginning production on Parker Lewis Can't Lose, or that might have been a year or two off at that point. But it felt like Jaws 3D a little bit too much, as in the alligator finding its way to the owner of the evil corporation's house to ruin the wedding of his daughter and his evil scientist's future son-in-law.
Yeah, that's, to me, I feel like the alligator was almost the protagonist of this movie.
Well, you mean the alligator was the antagonist? It was the protagonist. Yeah, he was, because the alligator was the innocent creature. Basically,
of the one death that I think we're probably sharing here, but
yeah. But before we get to that, Brian, what are your thoughts on it?
I loved it. Now, listen, I am a sucker for killer animal movies. I know, but I fucking love them. I get so into them. I feel like a kid. Wow, I'm actually a little bit surprised. You guys, this one felt slow to you, huh?
Yeah, it felt like the longest.
I guess that's just my bias. I guess it's just the whole thing for me of like, I don't know. I adore it. Now the whole thing of like you guys saying like that he flushed it down the toilet for no reason. There is a small little bit that's why he does, and it's actually one of my favorite parts of the movie because it makes zero sense. He found drops behind, I think he said like, I don't know, whatever, behind something in their house. Now here's the really hysterical part about it, right? Because him and his wife are screaming at each other. He's like, I'm sick of this shit. And she's like, what's going on? And He's like, yeah, I found poop behind the dresser or whatever. Anyway, those two were really funny. But what he does is he's talking about how he found this poop, and he reaches into the aquarium or whatever you want to call it that the alligator is living in and pulls it out. So we're supposed to believe that this little fucking thing like flew out of its house and ran rampant around the fucking house, pooping everywhere, and then just like jumped back in. It's not possible.
No, it's not possible. And I remember that line during his exaggerated drunken argument, and I'm guessing this was the morning because he looked like he was getting ready. It
reminded me so much of like a Jerry Stiller performance. Like it was just so over the top. I loved it.
Oh, it was.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It was completely over the top, but look, all it did was it could have easily been fixed. We didn't need to know about the alligator wrestling. All it was is it could have just been a mom. Look what I found in our son's room. Boom, flush it down the toilet. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was
the girl being a alligator expert to start off with, though.
Yep,
they had to have that little prelude in there.
True. That was bad foreshadowing, though.
I would like to see a crossover. You know, this is in the Suckling universe, right? So, yeah.
No. Actually, I have thought about some other sequels to Alligator that I will talk about at the end of this. Just one in particular, but I would watch a Suckling and Alligator movie.
I would like to say that. So this is the second time I've watched the movie. The first time I watched the Blu-ray, and this time I watched the 4K. Personally, and I know this stuff's really divisive, and that's perfectly fine if you guys don't agree. I didn't really see that much of an upgrade, in my opinion. I don't know. In other words, I would have been fine with just a Blu release. But
I just had it on DVD before, so there was an upgrade.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's
a masterpiece. It's all right. Take your time. Find your words. It's okay.
I think this is more as a whole to Shout Factory. Of the 3 4Ks I have from them, I haven't been that impressed.
Which ones?
I have They Live, Alligator, and what was the other one that just came out?
Sword and the Sorcerer?
No.
Howling?
Yes. I think Howling looked the best of them. And plus, I think I love the Howling as much as Brian loves this movie.
now, I mean, don't get me wrong. Again, like I recognize that it's just my love for killer animal movies that probably elevates this one for me. But it's just a fun movie for me. I mean, I love the acting in it, and I'm sorry, what's the main actor's name again?
Robert Forster.
Yeah, Robert Forster. He's just, I don't know. I just love it. Like, his character in the movie, all the other cops make fun of him and hate him and stuff because, his old partner got shot and he kind of has this like bad stigma about him. But he's like this fun-loving, like fun-natured guy throughout the entire movie, and he just makes me smile. I love it. Like his relationship with the alligator lady. It's like he just puts on this. He charms the pants off of her. By golly,
what are you talking about? His pickup lines to her to stay the night there were so fucking torturous. They were so cringy. They worked in the 80s. They worked in the 80s. As a cop, he should know that was coercion.
It wasn't rapey.
It was
like that,
It was a tad rapey. I was hoping to spend the night here, but
what was with all the male pattern baldness jokes? You really kick those up a notch.
Yeah, that was such a weird thing to throw in there.
Is this the first movie that has started the show?
To be fair, The
We have
pets
to address this somehow, Robert.
the pet store owner had no right to compare himself to Robert Forrester. Robert Forrester
God.
had a full head of hair. There was no inkling of male pattern baldness. And
You mentioning the pet store owner that made me want to discuss another part too. So it's also. Were you going to say something?
go on, because I have a whole bit on the pet store owner.
Well, it's also fair to mention too. So we've got a pet store owner who is in cahoots with this corporation that's testing on these little puppies and things, and the whole thing is they throw them down into the sewer and the alligator's feeding off of them and all this good stuff. So that's part of our plot there. But what I wanted to talk about as far as the pet store owner, him and the guy from the corporation, like they're having this whole conversation about, Robert Forster's character came in and he's like, I talked to the cop, the cops are here today and I'm getting scared. Maybe I should dial it back. That whole scene. Well, when they're discussing like needing more test patients, we'll say that, for the facility, it's like they have to use the term puppy. It's like they can't dog, nothing like that. It's like puppies, we need puppies, but it's like it's just really stabbing in the heart. Like, God, no one wants to see puppies killed. I just thought it was funny that they insisted on using the term puppies, not dogs, not canines, anything like that. Puppies. We're really going to drive it home that we're killing puppies in this movie.
Well, what made it even worse is the guy at the lab treated the pet store owner like shit. You take that stuff out. He's like, no, man.
Yeah,
I could blow this entire operation. I'm the most important person here. I am breaking my oath as a pet store owner and bringing you animals that I kidnap for profit. And
I love the whole there's a weird thing. So when the pet store owner's dropping off the dead dead puppies in the sewer, and he gets eaten by the alligator, great. And so when the cops and investigators and everything are finding his dismembered body parts, they find his leg and they're like, there's like cat litter in his sock. I don't know. I just thought it was fucking funny.
It was
this movie's great.
It was ridiculous on so many different levels. Ridiculous.
Yeah, they called him a cat fanatic.
I've seen that guy in so many different movies before, and
he looked very familiar to me, but I couldn't place where I've seen him.
Actually, hold on. I can tell you where I saw him. You guys talk about something while I do some quick research.
Sure.
Oh.
The alligator looked very believable.
I liked how the scene where it came out of the sewer and just broke the concrete. I thought was
that was my favorite part.
Yeah,
it just comes out so fucking like it's everything you want from these kind of movies. I think he just looks like this dumpy fucking mess.
They started with the real cheap, just shake the camera a little bit.
Yes.
All right, let's talk about the most unnecessary death in the movie while I research this. The swimming pool where the little kid died. There was no reason for that.
Yeah, that's the only part where I was kind of like, so the whole time I'm like, okay, this is like the story of the alligator's revenge. He's like plotted this out perfectly. He knows who to go after, but then he eats this kid, and I'm like, oh, man, that kind of ruins his plan.
I appreciated it. I don't know how this is going to sound, but I always applaud a movie that'll kill a kid. They when they go, it's like the '80s Blob, right?
Uh-huh.
Kid death scene. It's like, holy crap, they did it.
Yeah, that's like,
albeit it makes no sense. I agree, but still.
Good on this part. She walked in when the dinosaur, or when I don't know why I keep calling it a dinosaur. She walked out when the alligator burst out of the sewer, and just looked at me, and then she was still sitting there when the alligator ate the little kid, and I was like, you could do that in the '80s. You had to kill at least one kid in an '80s movie.
I don't think that's true. I don't think. By the way, the actor's name was Sidney Lassick, and he was in a ton of stuff, including playing Cheswick in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He played Mr. Fromm in Carrie. He was in The $1 Billion Hobo. He's
Not
dead
familiar
now.
with that one.
Skate Town, USA, The Unseen, History of the World Part 1, and Pandemonium, along with hundreds of other films. So that's
Cool as Ice.
He was in Cool as Ice, the Vanilla Ice vehicle.
Apparently, yeah.
All right. But all right, so that kid's death. I'm sorry, that kid's death did not add anything to the movie or take away anything for the movie. It was the one. I mean, how do I say it? The fact that kid was basically murdered by his brothers or friends is what I think. It wasn't the alligator. That was just the icing on the cake. It was that this kid was murdered, basically. They could have rethunk that death a little bit more, or they could have thought that one out a little bit better. But that was the only.
I think they wanted it to be more impactful than it actually was, or impactful rather. I'm sorry. I think
it was impactful, but most of the other deaths were pretty campy. This one wasn't, and I don't know if this was the flaw of the director, but it felt like that was something from a different movie.
Should have been.
I can see that.
Now, I did learn. I was starting to watch a video before we were recording 10 things about the movie Alligator that I did not know, but I got through one of them, and Joe Dante was originally approached to direct this movie.
Been interesting.
Just turned it down.
Yeah, because it was. I guess it was too repetitive of Piranha, which was just a few years earlier than this. Did you guys think Robin Riker was believable as the alligator expert?
I don't know how to answer that.
There are two ways to answer it: yes or no.
I'm gonna say no, and I'm gonna compare it to someone who I feel like did come off as a really good expert, and that was when we watched The Lamp, when the teacher was discussing the history of that and like gins and that kind of stuff. And I was like, wow, this person actually seems like they know about this topic. But in this movie, Robin Riker just kind of seemed like she would just like every now and then throw out a random fact about an alligator.
She is not a good actress. And I don't understand, like, in the 80s or 90s of what these directors were looking for their films. And they could have gotten some. This casting was akin to Denise Richards in the James Bond movie where she was a nuclear scientist. Like, based on Denise Richards' other movies, we don't believe her in that role.
Mm-hmm.
It would be like Brian coming onto television as a doctor in an emergency room. No offense, Brian. You are not doctor material.
I watch movies by day. I'm a doctor by night. I don't know.
No, actually, that's not true. If there was a remake of Dr. Giggles, you would be perfect in that movie. All right.
I don't know. As far as the reason I said I don't know how to answer that question is I'm just sort of all about the creatures in these movies and stuff. So I just smile through them. I don't know. I don't give a fuck about the actors. Like you said, I just want to see more of the alligator. He's our main protagonist. I want to see him out there whipping his tail around. Which, by the way, that whole party scene is great. You know, he, in my opinion, I didn't really expect to see the tail utilized as much as it was, but he's just out there throwing people around. The guy gets smashed through the fucking cake. It's great, flipping it around.
It was great, and the end where the owner of the company's death I thought that was pretty good too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There were multiple times during that party scene where you could just see the fish line like clear as day too.
Look, that's because we're watching an ultra 4K. we're gonna see things that we never thought we'd see, like fish line, faces in the sperm when it's ejaculated onto some woman's face in Sex World.
Excuse me?
Yeah. Was that in this movie?
No. I was hearkening back to Sex World.
We never got to talk about that one.
We never talked about that one. No, we'll talk about that at some point. All right. So a couple other things I wanted to talk about. Him getting kicked off the force, not just moved off the case, but kicked off the force. How powerful is this corporation?
Oh man! And again, he just took it like such a champ. You know, he went right to his lady friend. He's like, "Yeah, they kicked me off." Like he's just so nonchalant about it. I'm gonna catch this gator now.
I personally would have left Chicago at that point. Fuck them. They can deal with this. And it was kind of like the chief was still begging him at the end. All right. In one way, this kind of felt like it was written as a made-for-TV movie.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't recall there being much swearing in this movie. Huh? Maybe it was.
Much what? I'm sorry.
Made-for-television film.
No, I'm sorry. I missed something you said there just a second.
Oh, there wasn't a lot of swearing. There wasn't a lot of swearing in the movie or nudity.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's how it was originally intended. All right. How many fleshed alligator? Oh, I'm sorry. I had an idea for Alligator 3. There was Alligator 2, the mutation. So this one would be called Alligator 3, the flushing. And it would involve a mass Flushings in Flushing's Queen, where a whole bunch of alligators take over the city.
Oh, dude. Now we're talking. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was my idea.
And they only attack kids in swimming pools.
No. They're like the Punisher. They attack corruption.
I feel like every time we have the three of us on,
And he was there. Matt just went frozen again. All right. So, Brian, how many...
write a movie.
We should. And you froze up again, just to let you know.
I believe it.
All right. How many fleshed alligators would you give this film, Brian Baldwin?
Four.
Okay. Huh. Matt, how many fleshed alligators would you give this movie?
I'm going to go... when I was talking about how slow I thought it was, I wasn't trying to come off that I hated the movie, but I'm gonna go 2.5.
Okay, I'm gonna go slightly higher. I'm gonna go 2.9 fleshed alligators. All right, next week. Next week we are going to go back in time. We're gonna go back to an older Vinegar Syndrome release, Death Row Game Show. I have been excited about revisiting this one since the first time I watched it.
Mm-hmm.
So here's before we leave, I was kind of curious about this. We're starting to see the movies of summer come out. Which ones are you guys getting excited about?
The only movie that matters, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
I got to tell you, I am looking forward to that one as well. I am very worried about Marvel now having a multiverse after seeing how DC used to have one, and then it got really complicated, and they got rid of it. Now they're bringing it back, but fuck, I think multiverses are just a bigger. They are really cool, and then they become a bigger problem. Kind of like the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies, where he's like, "Oh, we're gonna say this is a whole separate universe and bring original Spock into it," and then for however long we have him, he's gonna be able to answer all of our questions like he did in the second Star Trek film.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried about it just because I was not a fan of No Way Home. I know that's the unpopular opinion, but
I didn't like it either.
Hoping Sam Raimi shows him how it's done.
I hope Sam Raimi makes a good movie, but we can't forget that he made Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
We
I
can't.
revisited it recently. Not as bad as I remember it.
Oh, it's terrible. The dance sequence was so unnecessary.
Oh, but so appreciated.
That's the greatest reaction to that. I love it.
I might have to, I might have to drive to Columbus, Ohio, and slap you for that one.
Well, let's watch it when we get here so you can just to make sure.
Let's see. Next week is the halfway to Black Friday sale pre-orders. What do we think Cloak and Dagger is going to be one of the movies announced?
I think that's what it kind of seems like. Yeah, I know there was debate between that and what was it, joysticks, or are those two different clues?
Well, joysticks would be great. For one day, I had the Scorpion release. Not even a day. I remember getting it from the mailbox, and at the time, I drank soda, and I was carrying a food I bought and a soda from McDonald's, and I tripped, and the disc and the soda combined, and I no longer have joysticks. So I hope it is. I hope it is. And judging from the amount of Scorpion titles they've released, Code Red and Scorpion titles they've released already, I wouldn't be surprised to see yet another reissue in the May order in the halfway to Black Friday pre-order.
I'm really intrigued by the action one.
Yeah.
Is the action one VSA or is it going to be regular Vinegar Syndrome?
I think it's VSU. I thought.
VSU?
I thought that's what it said.
I thought VSU.
I think you're right.
I thought VSU was dead.
Going back on films that we're excited for, The Northman, I think is the most. I'm really excited about that one.
I haven't
Robert Eggers' new movie.
I haven't even heard about that one.
It looks great. It's like a Viking type of film. Looks awesome.
The guy who made The Witch, I think. That's the same movie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys ordering the second Sight Witch 4K?
I already have it pre-ordered.
Yeah, I did not like that movie enough to do it. Drive, though, I'm all over that one, and that might be the reason I get a region-free player so I can watch all the extras on the Blu-ray.
Mm.
Is that the one that I saw that has like a metal scorpion on the front of the face and stuff? And
It's the one that Diabolic's pre-release price is $1,000 for it, though. I did go to Second Sight's website. It's £54, so however much that is. But
maybe it's not VSU. Here's what it says. It says world UHD debut of one of the most beloved action films to emerge from the late 80s, presented in both its commonly seen release version as well as its impossible to find original cut. So I guess it's just regular VS.
So that's wow. So they are having two. Maybe Thriller will be VSU.
Maybe. Yeah, I thought that I had saw something was they were doing another VSU that month. I thought. I think. Well, hold on,
they have not done a VSU since Six String Samurai.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and that's now 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So maybe VSU has gone.
Has that really been 2 years?
Yeah, it was 2020.
Jeez,
maybe it was 2021. No, it was 2020. Because Beastmaster was 2019. No, Beastmaster was 2020. So I don't even remember what year Beastmaster was. So
I can't keep it. Yeah.
But those have been the only two VSU, and there's been 3 VSPs since then. But you know what? we'll talk about all the announcements next Sunday on our next episode, but we record these on Sunday, so we'll be talking about those for sure. And I'm sure there'll be more on the Thriller debacle. I'm sure there'll be more opinions on that. But we will be back next week as we talk about Death Row Game Show, which I gotta ask, how is nobody fucking talking about that movie? Because I think it's one of their best releases ever.
Oh, it's a great movie. I'm like you. I'm excited to revisit it because I haven't seen it in quite some time, but I remember being extremely pleased with it. It's just a tremendous amount of fun.
I remember when the month that came out, it was the same month Jack Frost did, and I thought that was, and I think The Undertaker came out the same month as well. And I just thought that was a great month for releases. And we should talk about.
I was very underwhelmed with The Undertaker, to be honest with you.
I enjoy. I like Joe Spinelli. He's just an idiot.
Well, I do too. I don't know. I found that one kind of boring. But again, I've only watched it one time. Sometimes you got to give those things a couple of watches and be in a certain mood, you know. But
I rewatched it for my 31 horror films this past year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I was very happy that I was able to do it 2 years in a row. Because that is the hardest thing to do, is watch 31 movies in 31 days.
Mm-hmm.
But if COVID taught us anything, you can just say, I'm afraid to go out and not go out. Yeah, we'll be back next week. And next week, Brian, I will give my thoughts on X.
Yes. God. Oh, man. I can't wait. Steve went and watched it yesterday. Second week in a row we talked about who's the Steve guy? But anyway, yeah. Dude, God, I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
And you know what? I think it's going to be good because I was excited to see it, but I had another podcast recording that went long, and since it was a bunch of comedians, I couldn't stop laughing. And I should at some point tell you guys about my other podcast, but enough. I don't want to cross genres, so we'll be back next week. Thank you, Saul, for tuning in. Hey, and if you enjoyed this episode, please hit the subscribe button. We need more subscribers. We need more comments. We need more stroking of our egos. And from Matt, Brian, and myself, thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, guys.
You guys.